welcome to the Daily Dosage. I'm Pat Beach.
I'm John Lorge.
And you know, it's fantasy football time, fans, so we're about to give you a quick dose of NFL fantasy football, the quarterbacks. John, I've looked at your top 10 list, so who are your top 3 quarterbacks?
After watching Tom Brady in the preseason, I have no reservations about making him my top fantasy quarterback. As long as he gets the protection, he could replicate that 2007 season. Where there's Brady, there's always Peyton Manning. Manning's averaged over 4,000 yards per season throughout his career, and he's the safest of the elite quarterbacks. A lot of people have Drew Brees as the number 1 quarterback this year, but I have serious concerns about the opponents the Saints face. With the tougher defense in front of them, it might not be as explosive of an offense.
Wow, John, that's a pretty impressive top 3 guys. It's kind of tough to pick between either of those 3. So who do you have next?
The Packers are an offense that throw to run the ball, and Rodgers loves standing back in the pocket and slinging the rock. In Arizona, you have the old man Kurt Warner. He can still get it done, but if Zona's having trouble, will they pull him for Leinart? After Warner, I have McNabb. With all the offense they've surrounded him with this year, there's no reason he shouldn't be your fantasy quarterback.
It's hard to tell between Tier 1 and Tier 2 guys, so here's the final 4 quarterbacks rounding out John's top 10 list.
Phillip Rivers established himself as a fantasy quarterback last season. He won't throw for as many yards this year, but he'll be just as successful. Carson Palmer's been nagged with injuries, but when healthy, he's guaranteed 4,000 yards. Tony Romo lost Terrell Owens, but don't think that he's going to quit throwing the ball. Roy Williams will be his main target along with Jason Witten. Matt Schaub's a guy not many know about, but he's a legit fantasy starter.
So John, who's your fantasy football sleeper at quarterback position this year?
My fantasy football sleeper quarterback is David Garrard. The Jags beefed up their offensive line and got rid of all the receivers who'd rather do drugs than play football. Torrey Holt's arrival makes Garrard my top fantasy sleeper.
So John, we've been hearing a lot about Brett Favre and Michael Vick, obviously. What do you think about these guys?
I have Favre as my 16th quarterback in climbing. The Vikings offense is much more explosive than the Jets was, and he has plenty of targets to get the ball to. With Adrian Peterson rushing, there's no reason the passing game shouldn't be wide open. As for Vick, we still don't know when he's going to get on the field. Right now it's scheduled for the 6th week of the season. It could be sooner and it could be later. When he gets on the field, it'll be primarily in a wildcat role, but he's still a viable backup.
And that's all for fantasy football quarterback position. John, do you have any thoughts to wrap this segment up?
If you guys want to know where to draft any of these quarterbacks or any other quarterback, just drop me a line. If you're a real fantasy football player, hit us up and come play fantasy football with the Daily Dosage.
Yeah, know what I'm talking about?